always wanted to make my own guitar, years and years ago. It's been in the back of my mind. But I thought I'll learn to play it first, and then I decided to build it. It's a good one. It's better than the one I bought, actually, #1. So I thought, oh, beginner's luck. So I said, I'll build another one. And that was even better. So I said, oh, I'll try and sell them. So that's how it's gone. It's going better all the time. But it's not for making money. It's a passion now. I just love doing it. Simple. So this is a new wood for making my next soundboard. It comes from Switzerland, and it's very expensive, so you can't afford to make mistakes. It's a European spruce, and it comes as ready marked where the upper bout's going to be and the lower bout's going to be, because the grain is running that way. In other words, the tree is growing that way. It's very important that you get the grain to run the same way as, yeah. And there's a few things we have to do to find out which way the grain is running. Although this is marked, which makes it easier for you. But if you look at that, the fibers are facing that way, just like the hair at the back of your head. But if you're playing that, it's nice, you get nice smooth shavings. But if you went the other way, it'll be very rough. So which tells you that the grain is running. But it's important that the grain goes where the sound hole is going to be. Yeah. So that's half the job done for me. See if I want to find it. Now when it comes, depends how good the sawman is when he's sawing these. Sometimes you get a bit of a depression there, you know. And same on the other side, it could be a convex, if you like. So you have to make them pretty flat. So I usually use that one, my machine there. It's a noisy thing to get as clean as possible. After that, we use what we call a shooting board, which is that one, to get it exactly. As you can see, there's a step here. Now we put the wood against that. Then we use a long plane, because this surface here is going to be smooth and exactly 90 degrees to that surface. Otherwise you'll get a bad joint, you know. So we use, to save time, I've already done it, but I'll just demonstrate. What you have to do is go like that with a plane. You take the finest of shavings until you feel it's about right. You do the same with the both, and then to make sure that you haven't got any gaps. I should mention, you have to put it so you don't lose the sight of the, where are we? That's it. As long as you don't lose sight of where the grain is running. There's 2 pencil marks there. Yeah. The edge here, which the grain is running, like I said, that way. Make sure. Just to blacken the end. Because once you start playing on the top, you lose those pencil marks. So that tells you your grain is still going the same way. Right. So you do the same for both surfaces. What you could do is put the two like that, see if there's any daylight coming through. But I don't like that because there's not enough pressure on it. So what I normally do is put that there. I put my weight against it. And then I go along like that, slowly. If it moves up and down, it means there's a bit of a depression there, or a high spot. So you try and get those high spots out of the way until it's absolutely tight all the way along. So to save time, I've already done that. So that's fine. Now normally that's too smooth to glue. Because if I was to put glue on there, and you clamp it up, all the glue will come out, makes a weak joint. So we have to roughen it up a little bit. You can either use a button, which is very straight, put some coarse sandpaper there, and then you go like that, just roughen it up. Or as I happen to have a piece of aluminium lying around, I even had a handle on it. So you go like that to roughen it up, and then you do the same with the other side. The idea is to create little grooves in there so that when you put the glue on, it doesn't get squeezed out. Now the purpose of that sandpaper being rough, it creates little grooves along there. And once you put the glue on, the glue remains in those grooves. It doesn't get squeezed out, you get a very strong joint. That's for that. Also, as the action of the sandpaper brings up the fibers. Just imagine my fingers, the fibers are sticking up. So when you squeeze them together, and they're just like that, and they lock. Now, probably there are people out there probably don't agree with that, but it works for me. Put it that way. This is what I call a gluing board. There's a button here. There's a rebase about 5 mil deep, 5 mil high and about 10 mil deep. The idea is to get these into there, so that when you clamp it up, it doesn't kick up. And this sellotape there is when you get the squeeze out of the glue, so it doesn't stick to that board. Otherwise, you'll never get it off. So the idea is do it like that, you see, and then you clamp it up. So we're ready to put the glue on. Glue on the side. It's got to be strong, otherwise in time the soundboard will separate. And they don't want that after the guitar has been built. We'll take this a little bit further because this is quite straight now, as flat as you can get it, as the naked eye can see. There could be very minute undulations there. So the way to get rid of those, wait a minute, I've got spruce sanding dust. You just mix it with some of the glue, which it thickens the glue. So what I do is only on one side. And also, when you put the other half to it, it's best to offset it a little bit, about 3 or 4 mil. Reason being, if you really get a good joint there, you lose the center line where it's glued, because that glue line there is your center line, and you keep to that center line all the way through the build of the guitar. So once you get a good joint, it's taken me some time, about half an hour to find it. So if you offset it just a little bit, you know where to look for it. There's another button here with the rebate, which we'll put here. And then we'll just put 2 clamps. We're just tight enough to stop it kicking up because we want it to slide forward. Now if I was to glue that, tighten that up now with clamps, all that metal would do is shoot up. So we need to put a piece, a good sturdy piece in the middle, like that. There's a channel in the middle. I'll explain to that just now what that's for, but it's to make sure that it goes right over the join. To there. And we put, again, 2 clamps, just tight enough to stop it moving upwards. That's that done. Now we'll do the main clamps on. When you clamp it, especially long pieces, always start from in the middle. For a simple reason, you want the pressure to go outwards. Actually, you can now see squeezing the glue out already. Another one. Now we can afford to tighten this up a little bit more, so it really brings the two halves flush together. And the reason for that rebate along this piece of wood is for the air to circulate so that the glue can go off. That's done. I'll leave that for about 3 or 4 hours. The glue should have gone off easy by then, usually about 2 hours. And then I'll come back, I'll back some pressure off these clamps, and then I'll leave it overnight.